Well, good morning, Brett. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm well. I am David York, joined by the great Brett Bumpus. We are going to talk a little bit about UIL realignment today. Our show is brought to you by Hall Real Estate and Don Hall Construction. Drew is so kind to allow us to use his offices to do our broadcast today. So we thought we'd give him the love of being the official sponsor of the show. Plus, he supports pretty much anything we do.
Oh, yeah.
So we appreciate him. Give you a little bit of the rundown of what will happen today. We'll talk a little bit about what we speculate to happen throughout today and when the unveiling will happen and what we'll know and what we won't know. And then we will present to you the districting when we get it. It should be right around 9 o'clock or shortly after that it'll be unveiled, and then we can put it on the screen and get it ready for everybody to see. Today we will know our volleyball, basketball, and football districts for the 2026 through 2028 seasons. In a couple of weeks, they will announce the remaining districts for the other sports, including baseball, softball, track. And I know there's been some people asking, well, doesn't softball and baseball always reflect normally what basketball is? Kinda.
Yeah.
Would be the answer to that.
To expand on that, the football is different. Usually there may be more teams in baseball, basketball, and a lot of times the baseball, softball, basketball districts are similar. There may be one school different, but there's usually at least 2 or 3 different schools in those sports as compared to football. The way that they have football broken down between small school 4A and big school 4A.
Yep. And then also at 8:44, we will do a moment of silence for Caden Nowicki.
Hence the red shirts.
Yep. If you have not heard, this young man passed away, unfortunately, on January 29th. He had been in the hospital for a few days after a sledding accident that happened, obviously, during the ice storm that took place last week. And it's very unfortunate, and the community's come together to do a couple of things to recognize the great life this young man lived, and including they're doing a walk today at 8:44.
Yes, the honor walk.
The honor walk, and they'll actually walk right at 8:44, and the reason for 8:44 is his number was 44, and so we're going to do a moment of silence at 8:44 to honor that young man and the great young leader that he was in his community. And so you want to tell a little bit about that information?
Yeah, the honor walk, obviously, like you said, is today it says to arrive. This is at Medical City at Denton. If you're able to make it, it would be awesome to honor this young man. Arrive at 8:15. The walk will be at 8:44. It says the honor walk, sometimes called the hero's walk or a walk of respect, occurs when a patient is transported from their hospital room or intensive care unit to the operating room for organ procurement. This moment signifies not just the end of life, but the beginning of a renewed hope for others. The walk is a deeply moving acknowledgement of the donor's ultimate act of generosity, choosing to give life even after death. So he will be donating his organs. Hopefully, through his tragedy, another life may be saved. So again, this young man he was a senior football player at Bonder High School. They have reached out, not just individually, but they've broadcast over all types of social media for everybody to wear red in honor of Ponder today, because he was a very respected young man there at that high school. So, as David said, at 8:44, we will have a moment of silence for Caden Nowicki, and from there we will venture on.
Yep.
Many prayers to that family and that community, because I know there's a lot of people hurting down there right now.
Absolutely. And I know that it's tough to try to find positive moments during a tragedy like this. A young man taken at 17 years old. It's never great to ever lose a life, but to see the community come together and celebrate this young man's life and what he stood for, I think that's been awesome to see.
I agree.
And
what better way to celebrate his life by the honor walk?
Agreed. Absolutely. So, Brett, you kind of looked at some of the mapping and stuff for realignment. What's your take on what do you think we'll see happen today?
You know, it's interesting. I pulled up a map from the previous realignment, which was the 2024-2025 season. And when we say seed, I'm referring to football season. Obviously, it's not school years. But it was interesting. I found this map that it basically has the UIL where it's broken down. But the way that it's broken down now doesn't reflect what it currently is, because there was some schools that moved up from 3A to 4A. As you know, we just mentioned Ponder. That's one of them. And there's a very strong possibility. I don't see how Ponder does not end up in a district with Sanger. I just don't understand. I don't see how it doesn't happen. And you mentioned, looking at this map, and you had mentioned, Cattle Mills. We could possibly be losing Cattle Mills, and it geographically makes the most sense.
Well, and Cattle moved to D1.
Oh yeah. So geographically, yeah, and even if they didn't, it still makes the most sense for them to move up.
Correct.
Or to move out, because it is the furthest drive by mileage, but it's also the furthest drive by time because of traffic to get there. Van Alstyne. I could see Van Alstyne staying in the district. I could see Farmersville staying in the district. Bonham is kind of a hit or miss. I'm not quite sure what Bonham, because they're still so small. They didn't grow that much.
Yeah, they barely made the cutoff to stay in 4A.
Yeah, and honestly, we talked about that, months ago, that we thought they might actually move down. But either way, they're still a 4A small school. And, they could go a little bit further east, because if you look at the district of 4A schools just to the east of them, it's a massive, massive district. There's a lot of drive time out there. Whereas, they're geographically, they're right next to, I should have brought my glasses, right there. If everybody could see that.
I don't know what that is.
Yep.
Oh, is that Paris Lamar?
Yeah, I bet it maybe so.
North Lamar?
PA,
North
Lamar.
Lamar.
Lamar. Yeah, good call. So they're from Bonham to Paris is not a far drive at all. So there's many things that we could see differently. Again, before we got into this district that we are in, Burke Burnett was in our district in basketball
Right.
and the spring sports. But Burke Burnett's the other direction. But you also mentioned before we got on the broadcast that just to their south and their west, within 25 minutes, Iowa Park moved up into 4A.
Correct.
So we automatically assume Iowa Park's going to go in with Burke and Graham. The issue with that district is it's so spread out, because Burke Burnett comes all the way down to Brock. That's the way it was immediately drawn up. But with other schools, moving up because of their enrollment coming up, and you do have some schools that are big 3A, they're opting up to 4A. It could go either direction on which direction that Burke Burnett and Iowa Park goes. But as far as where Sanger goes, I think you put the best model together of what you expect to happen. So let's hear what you've got to say on that, because I really do. I know you put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of brainwaves into this, and it's been fun for me to sit back and watch you and your thought process on this. So jump right into it, David.
Yeah, I think the first thing I would explain is, so right now on the screen we're sharing the reclassification and realignment based on the divisions and the classifications, right? So you have on the left-hand side of your screen right now, if you're looking at this is the football conference cutoffs that takes you from everybody that's a 2215 and above enrollment is 6A, and then 1830 to 2214 is 5A Division 1. 1305 to 1829 is 5A Division 2. 4A Division 1 is 896 to 1304, and to give you perspective, Sanger was at 880. So we barely stayed in 4A Division 2. That goes from 550 to 895. On the other side of that spectrum, Ponder barely moved into 4A at 560. And so they were on the cusp of being 3A still, which they have been. And 3A Division 1 goes from 367 to 549. 3A Division 2, 246 to 366.9. Basically meaning if you're 367 and above, you're moving up. 2A Division 1, 175.6 to 245.9. 2A Division 2, 105 to 175.5. 1A Division 1, 57.6 to 104.9, and then 57.5 below is 1A Division 2. And then similar for the full conference cutoffs, that just takes those two numbers that we just talked about for each division and combines them. 2215 and above is 6A, 1305 to 2214 is 5A. That's where, so the difference being here is we just talked about football districts. Well, then, like in Region 1, you'll have 4 football districts. But then when you go to look at basketball, In Region 1, you will have 8 districts, right? It's the 4A, well, for example, it's each classification's division, we'll just say, use 4A for example. 4A Division 1, Region 1, District 1 through 4, and then Districts 1 through 4 for Division 2 would now become Districts 1 through 8.
Okay.
In simplest terms to
Right.
say it that way. The other things that trigger differences in that, especially when you get to 4A and below, especially a lot smaller schools, is there's a ton of schools that don't have football. So the football districting maps and then the basketball districts look a lot different in a lot of cases, especially in the more rural areas, because there's towns that just don't have football. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that that's the way that those towns are set up, and it changes the redistricting quite a bit. So when people say, like I hear all the time, well, Crumb's in our football district, but they're not in our basketball district. Why? And this becomes the reason. Last year, or the current realignment standings, Crum and Sanger were one game away from playing in the semifinals of the state tournament for basketball, because had Sanger beat Kennedale in the region finals to go to the semifinals, they would have played Crum, because Kennedale advanced and ended up playing Crum in the semifinals. And it's crazy to think that, but that's because in the basketball alignment, Crum was Region 1, we were Region 2.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they could have met in the semifinals, which
Yeah.
is just it's odd to say it that way, because we were in the same region, the same district in football, but not only not in the same district for basketball, but different regions.
Right, and the weirder thing to think about that is the regional semifinals is I'm 2 years out now. 1 year out of basketball, being super involved, but the regional semifinals is usually already predetermined destination, because the closer you get to the state, the closer that you're getting to Round Rock, Austin area, where the state tournament used to be. So it's crazy to think about the fact that Sanger and Crum could have been playing each other, 15 minutes apart. They could have been playing each other 3 hours away.
Very true. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, because they could have easily just got a neutral location right here in Denton County, but they would have to go to the state tournament to play each other.
Yep. So that's some of the thinking that goes into what they put together when they look at doing these redistricting moments, and it's a lot that goes into it. And then outside of that, we're coming up on our moment of silence here in a few seconds, but outside of that, the other things that go into it is you have a lot of schools that want to try to, especially school districts like Fort Worth and Dallas, El Paso being one of these as well. They want to keep their schools together to help them transportational wise, because if they keep their schools the way that realignment comes out, and they have 4 Division 1 and 4 Division 2, then they could be busing kids all over the place, versus keeping all the Fort Worth schools or all the Dallas schools in the same district. It helps them from a transportation standpoint, which obviously reflects cost. So you have schools that will opt up on purpose, like they're supposed to be 4A, they'll opt up to 5A, or they're supposed to be 4A Division 2, they'll opt up to 4A Division 1. So we're going to pause here momentarily for our moment of silence here at 8:44, and then we will be back on the air just shortly. And we're back. So I know a lot of people struggle in times like this when they see a person gone too soon. And so, there are great churches throughout our community. I saw they were having one of the memorable or one of the celebrations of life, I believe they were doing over the weekend in Ponder, was at one of their local churches there. And every community has some great ones, as do us. And so we want to give a mention to one of our supporters here locally is Church of Christ, Mason Peoples, especially in the youth group in a time like this. Obviously, with these towns being so closely aligned, there's a lot of kids that our kids knew him. I've heard some of their personal stories and connections they had to the kids. And so if you are struggling with understanding or need somebody to talk to in these moments, then Mason Peoples and the team over at Church of Christ is a great outlet for you. And then another continued supporter of our program is Grant Bowles, and the youth pastor there has a great relationship with a lot of the youth here in Sanger. And so that's another outlet for people in our community members to go and talk to and try to, it's hard to understand in situations like this, but they are definitely a great outlet to communicate with and understand and seek counsel to try to figure out a way to take steps forward. Because it's for a community like Ponder, they're similar to us in size and how their community spirit and the love they have for their kiddos and on and off the field and on and off the court and everything that young man stood for.
And you and I know a lot of families that live up there.
Yep.
And like you said, it's in times like this, the teenagers these days already are very emotional creatures. And then when you have a tragedy like this, they sometimes, like you said, they just don't understand how to handle it. And everybody could just say, "Well, just go to your Bible and it'll help you understand." But sometimes they just don't understand where to go to in the Bible, and that's where your gentlemen like Mason Peebles or Grant Bowles will come into play. Without judging, they just want you to know Christ, and they will show you how to get there and comfort you and show you what to do and how to do it, just to soften your heart just a little bit, to help you understand. As tragic as it is, there's no doubt that this young man is sitting in heaven right now, and he is basically, in like we said with this honor walk, in one tragedy is possibly saving a life right now.
Yep.
So there's so many ways to look at it in a positive standpoint, and that's, like you said, that's what what these gentlemen are here for.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think it's a commend what the staff over and Ponder that I've seen Coach Schultz and many others post great stories about this young man and some of the support that the rest of the community's done. I love to see some of the crossover from town to town support too. We've seen the Singer High School share the information about the young man, and I think that the school district here in Sanger and other nearby school districts, including Crum, which of course Crum and Ponder have had that rivalry for years, going back to basketball for the Battle of 156 from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so that to see those crossover support from other community members and everybody encouraging their kids and local districts to wear red today in support of that young man, I think it's very cool to see that support that reaches way beyond the competitiveness that comes out in all these young kids when they go out and play sports against each other out there on the field and court. So I'm pulling up something real quick. Bear with me a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit more about realignment as we continue to get the information about what's out there. But I'm gonna try to pull up a video, if I can get past my technology deficient mind.
And the reason, a lot of times, we'll have a guest on here with us, usually a coach, not for this particular day.
Right.
As David is pulling up right now, our coaches are not in town.
At least not Chad.
At least not Coach Rogers. He is at I don't know what you would call that, I guess. Just
it's a realignment
meeting. And this today is, we'll know who our district will be. And this meeting is also where they get their non-district schedule. The schedule may not be released, but we'll know who we're going to play in non-district. And it did change, not last year, but the year before. At the last minute, there was a couple of non-district games that were changed up, hence why we got in with Gunner. And I believe there's one more that changed also, but I don't remember exactly what school it was. But for the most part, we will know the non-district and district schedule hopefully by the end of the day. We don't know exactly the dates, but we'll know who we're playing.
Right. I think I figured it out here. So this particular room that Sanger is sitting in right now is just a 4A Division II room.
Wow.
And just the North Texas schools. Like, I don't know how far reaching it might be. All of Region 1 and Region 2, for example. There might be West Texas schools that are coming in there too. But they're meeting there not only to see what the alignment's going to be at 9 o'clock when they do the unveiling, but then they will start talking to each other about their non-district opponent schedule. And I know Coach Rogers has some of our non-district opponents already decided upon. I don't know how much he's willing for me to unveil, but I know that we have been scrimmaging Pilot Point the last couple of years, and I think the plan is for that scrimmage to continue because of the close proximity to us and Pilot Point.
And he's actually said that on air.
Yep. And then we plan on scrimmaging Caddo Mills the next 2 years. They will not be in our district because they're going to be 4A Division I. And then I think some of the non-district opponents that maybe not be confirmed yet, but are just being talked about include potentially Aubrey, Whitesboro, Paris, and there was one more. I don't remember what it might be. But one of the things that could happen is I think he has 4 non-district opponents decided right now, which if we have a 7-team district, he's ready to go. He's loaded because then you have 10 games. But if realignment's announced here in a few minutes and we have a 6-team district, then he's got to go out and find one more non-district opponent to have a 10-game schedule.
Yep.
So that changes the gamut a little bit because you don't want to ever schedule more than 4 because then you have to figure out a game to cancel in that scenario. Rarely do you have once you know we have 102 teams in 4A Division II, then you're not worried about an 8-team district because you don't have too many to worry. You know what I mean? So you know it's going to be 6 or 7. That's been the model the last several seasons. It's really been 7, but with the compression of enrollment changing a little bit, the numbers for 4A went down. And so when that happens, it changes the dynamic a little bit on what you're going to have for teams. And so we're at that 102 number, so you know we'll be at 6 or 7 teams. By just doing the simple math, you're going to have 4 districts in each region. So if you take 102, divided that by 4, just doing simple math here, I did this several times then you're going to have 25 and a half teams in each region, right? You divide 25 and a half divided by 4 districts in each region, 6.375. So that means
somebody's going to have a 7.
You're going to have at least one 7-team district in each region, but more likely there's going to be more 6s than there is 7s. And in this past realignment, there were more 7-team districts than there were 6s. So it just kind of depends on how it shakes out. Usually the way the state does it is they start with the West Texas, and they start looking out at different regions on what they could see and what happens. And on this screen, I'll just pull up. Actually, I think I saw it pulled up here. It'd be easier to do it here and have it in the background. And my prediction, as you mentioned earlier, on what I think will happen is I think it'll be Gainesville, Sanger, Crum, Ponder for sure. It's hard for me to find a alignment that makes sense separating those 4 schools in any way, because even when you go look from Gainesville to Ponder, it's still probably only like a 45-minute drive, maybe.
And looking at this, I mean, if they're not together, where are they going to go?
Right.
You know, unless if I could think of, I couldn't imagine them, because Ponder, the proximity to Crum, I can't imagine them going west towards Bridgeport or Eagle Mountain. If they go east, they're still in that same area because there's no other 4A schools around here.
Right.
If they go south, they have to go all the way down to, is this Fort Worth Dunbar? And then if they go north, they're right where they're already at.
Right. Yeah.
So I just can't see, like you said, perfectly stated, those 4, they have to be together.
Yeah.
Geographically, they have to be.
Right. So then I think the question becomes, to fill out the rest of our district, do we go west to get the other 2, or do we go east? If you go east, you could add Van Alstyne and Bonham, and there's your 6. If you have 7 schools, you could go Van Alstyne, Bonham, and Farmersville. If we go west, you could add Bridgeport, Eagle Mountain. You could add Bridgeport, Mineral Wells. You could add Brock. There's different schools you could add in that district. The problem then becomes, If you go too far west to add any schools, like even where Eagle Mountain is, they've got to figure out a way. Did we decide Eagle Mountain is D1? Let me find them on this thing. Eagle Mountain, yeah, their enrollment's 13, 15.
Okay, yeah.
They're Division 1.
Okay.
So we don't have to worry about them anymore. But when they're doing those redistricting lines, they have to do something with the Fort Worth schools, right? And so, and Godley and Glen Rose and Brock. So, I mean, they're going to have to do something with those schools. So whatever ends up happening, I think Ponder's got to stay up here with our direction. And I think we have to kind of, I think we're going to stay in Region 2, and we're going to pick up a couple of schools east of us, i.e. Van Alstyne and probably Bonham. I think Farmersville is going to go more east of that. I think they'll group Farmersville with Quinlan Ford, Wills Point, Canton, Kemp, Sunnyvale, that direction. And I think that some of the schools that have been in Region 2 the last 2 years that are 4A Division 2 will go to Region 3, like Carthage, Rusk, and the other one I mentioned. When I go to Model 2, what is it? Carthage Center and Rusk, they're out and at Far East Texas. They were in District 8, and that's kind of the south portion of Region 2, southeast portion of Region 2. But they're very far south of 20, when you comparatively speaking, not far south, but they're comparatively to the other schools that I think will remain Region 8, or District 8, excuse me. I think they are significantly further south enough to where you could see them going to Region 3. And some of the state championships that Carthage won over the last couple of decades, they have been in Region 3 when they've won some of those state titles. It was this particular alignment where they came back up to Region 2.
It's crazy that they bounced back and forth like that and still dominated.
Still dominated.
Yeah.
Yep. That has a lot to do with building a winning culture, because no matter the kids that have come through there, that coach is, I mean, it says it all when he has more state championships than he does playoff losses.
Well, like you said, it's more than, to me, it's more than just building the winning culture, but part of that winning culture is getting the kids to buy in.
Yep.
And once that initial set of kids bought in, they've been unstoppable. So it's, once they, you get the kids to buy into the program, you either get them stronger, you get them faster, you get them to respect, and then it's not so much just respect on the field, it's the respect off the field. It's just but like you said, it's the culture that they've built up there. They expect to win, and they have the mindset of, we're going to go out there and we're going to win a state championship. They don't have the mindset of kids that we've seen these days. Not just, I don't want to say just Sanger, because it's not just Sanger. It's the area. It's, oh my gosh, we got to play Carthage, or oh my gosh, we got to play Brock. But they put on their shoes the same way that we do.
Yep.
There's such a big mental factor into this game, not just football, but sports and life in general. There's so much just a mental factor that goes into it. If you go out there expecting that you're not going to do well, guess what? You're not going to do well. You've got to get that winning mentality, and that's exactly what's happening in Carthage right now, and it's not going away.
Yep. So I'm going to see if I can't get this, website to share here. I'm trying not to make us go off air at the same time. New tab, that's what I want. Here we go. It's live. Let me see if I can pull ours up real quick. 4A Division 2 alignment. And then, of course, I hit the wrong button with my fat fingers.
What's funny is you reached over. Oh, never mind. That mouse is for the other computer.
I know. Yep, 100%.
There we go.
All right, so Sanger, District 6, Region 2, Gainesville, Crum, Lake Worth, Ponder, Sanger, Van Alstyne. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Interesting. Did you have Lake Worth on your bingo card?
I did
Any
not have Lake
point
Worth.
whatsoever.
I had Bonham, but
I did-
Bonham went District 7. So Bonham, Farmersville, Paris, North Lamar, Quinlan, Ford,
Wow.
Sunnyvale, Wills Point, all in District 7. District 8, Carthage remained in Region 2. District 8, Carthage, Center, Gilmer, Longview, Spring Hill, Pittsburgh, Texarkana, Pleasant Grove. Athens went south. Athens and Brownsboro and Canton, Rusk, and Van went south to Region 3. That's interesting because when you look at, let me get this same website over here on this one so I can share this screen. Make sure we're still on air and I didn't do anything with that.
So it looks like on the just to the west of us, all they did was they dropped Eagle Mountain and added Iowa Park.
There we go. Yeah, here's this. If you want to, you can still talk about this educatively while I get this other put it on our screen.
So other areas around us, District 5 is Glen Rose, Hillsboro, Kemp, Uplift, Hampton, Prep, and Venus. District 4 to our west, Bridgeport, Brock, Burke-Burnett, Graham, Iowa Park, Mineral Wells. Further west, District 3, you have Borger, Levelland, Lubbock, Cooper, Liberty, Lubbock, Estacado, and Perryton. But again, the interesting one for us right here in our hometown, Gainesville, Crum, Lake Worth, Ponder, Sanger, and Van Alstyne. So we lose Bonham, we lose Farmersville, and we pick up Ponder and Lake Worth.
Yeah, Lake Worth is the one that I didn't have on there. I thought they would be grouped with those Fort Worth
I
schools.
was thinking the same thing.
Who does Fort Worth have?
So for that Fort Worth area, dun, 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 dun. I'm not seeing them on here.
Did they opt up to Division 1?
They may have.
They may have all opted up to Division 1. That was one of the school districts we couldn't figure out if they were opting up. We didn't have any information on that, and Coach Rogers even he reached out to Padilla, and he wasn't sure about Fort Worth.
Okay, so
they
that would
typically do.
That would make sense why Lake Worth, because Lake Worth would have been down here in no man's land.
Benbrook on there anywhere?
I'm not seeing.
They may have
Benbrook
opted
either.
up too.
Yeah, because District 7 is Bonham, Farmersville, Paris, North Lamar, Quinlan, Ford, which is that's a drive, Quinlan, Ford to Paris. But then Sunnyvale and Wills Point. District 8 is Carthage, Center, Gilmer, Longview, Spring Hill, Pittsburgh, Texarkana, Pleasant Grove. Brownwood, Gatesville, Robinson, Salado, Waco, Conley, Waco, La Vega. Let's see this. There's your Fort Worth districts. They are Division 1, Fort Worth, Benbrook, Carter, Riverside, Dunbar, Eastern Hills, Fort Worth Southwest, and Fort Worth Western Hills, and Fort Worth Diamond Hill, and Kennedale.
Makes sense.
Big district. Now,
And now it's on the screen for people to see.
there you go. District 9 basketball. Aubrey, Gainesville, Crum, Lake Dallas, Ponder, Sanger, Van Alstyne.
So that's I wonder if volleyball is the same. But keep that up. Keep that pulled up so I can get that on this screen so I can share this over here too. But talk about some of the other districts when I do that.
Yeah, so for other basketball around the area, so Sanger's District 9, again, is Aubrey, Gainesville, Crum, Lake Dallas, Ponder, Sanger, Van Alstyne. District 13, Cattle Mills, Farmersville, Kaufman, Quinlan Ford, Sunnyvale, Wills Point. District 8 is your Fort Worth teams, is Fort Worth Benbrook, Carter Riverside, Dunbar, Eastern Hills, Southwest Western Hills, Diamond Jarvis, Fort Worth Young Men's Leadership Academy, and Fort Worth Young Women's Leadership Academy. District 7, just to our west, Bridgeport, Burke Burnett, Decatur, Iowa Park, Lake Worth, River Oaks, Castleberry, and Springtown. District 6, Brock, Brownwood, Glen Rose, Graham, Mineral Wells, and Stephenville. Then District 10, is Carrollton Ranch View. Then you have all your Uplift academies. You have Uplift Hampton Prep, North Hills Prep, Summit International Prep, and Williams Prep. You go to District 11, we have Dallas Carter, Dallas Conrad, Dallas Hutchins, Dallas Kimball, Dallas Lincoln, Dallas Pinkston, Roosevelt, Spruce, and North Dallas. District 12, just to our south, we have Alvarado, Ferris, Godley, Hillsboro, Kennedale, Venus, and Waxahachie Life. So again, over in basketball, District 14, here's Bonham again. They did go ahead and move Bonham east. At Bonham, Paris, North Lamar, Pittsburgh, Sulphur Springs, Texarkana, Pleasant Grove. Now, y'all may be wondering why, they have basketball teams, like they have in 4A, you have Sanger with Van Alstyne, Ponder, Lake Dallas, blah, blah, blah. Then you come down here to District 8 where you have all your Fort Worth schools that opted up, but you also have to 4A Division 1, but that's all just football. Football in the actual regular season is broken down between 4A Division 1 and Division 2. Basketball is not broken down into Division 1, Division 2 until you get to the playoffs. That's why we have District 8 with all your Fort Worth schools. District 11 is all your Dallas schools, and Sanger in the middle in District 9 with Aubrey, Gainesville, Crum, Lake Dallas, Ponder, Sanger, Van Alstyne.
All right, so I have basketball now shared on the screen as well.
Okay.
I just can't see it very well in here. I can see it a little better here. So if you missed it a second ago, Brett just read off District 9. So we are in Region 2 with District 9 with now Crum, who has been Region 1 the last 2 years. And I think they were District 8, we were District 9. They might have been District 7, I don't know, but we were in different regions for sure. But now District 9 will be a lot more geographical friendly, in my opinion. You have Aubrey, Gainesville, Crum, Lake Dallas, Ponder, Sanger, Van Alstyne. Currently, our basketball district also includes, we do have Van Alstyne, Lake Dallas, but we also have Panther Creek. We have Prosper, Richland in our basketball district right now. Aubrey, Gainesville.
Salina.
And we have Salina. So Salina's out, Panther Creek's out, Prosper's out. They all moved up to 5A or 6A in some cases, I think. No, I think they're all 5A. And so you added Ponder and that's it, right?
It.
So we lost 3 and added 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, because we've had we did have 8 teams in the district for basketball, and now we have 7.
Yeah, because Panther Creek came into the district after district was already made.
No, Prosper Richland, because Richland was a new school.
I know, but Panther Creek did the same thing the year before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they that new? I didn't realize they were that new. Okay.
Which is why that they were in our district last year, because when the school actually came out, they were actually already had 5A numbers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Prosper Richland was new this school year.
Let's see here. Then I have on here as well the volleyball district. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go down to this one. And for volleyball, Aubrey, Gainesville, Crum, Lake Dallas, Ponder, Sanger, Van Alstyne, there's no difference between that and basketball, right?
Correct.
It's not always the same. I think there's differences in where maybe volleyball is not offered in some places. I think is a difference. I'm not even sure. I think maybe there's some non-football schools that still offer volleyball. I'm not even certain, though, about that. I may be speaking wrong. But there are some times where our volleyball district is slightly different than basketball. It looks like this particular realignment, it will be aligned, though, which will be easier to talk about a lot more. I haven't seen, I looked for it to talk about today on when the date is for the release for baseball and softball, track, and all the other sports redistricting.
I looked it up late last night, and UAL still says at a later date.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's all I kind of found too. So that tells you our districts for each of the 3 sports that have been announced today. We'll go back to the football district a little bit to talk about this one. Is that really on the screen? Oh, Lord. Okay, well, that's fun. Anyways, I wonder if I can just share this page. I think there's a way to do this.
Going back to football again, Sanger's district is District 6 with Gainesville, Crum, Lake Worth, Ponder, Sanger, and Van Alstyne. Again, we gain Lake Worth, and we gain Ponder. We lose Bonham, Farmersville.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. That kind of talks about it. I can actually center that up a little bit better too. Somebody asked a few minutes ago, will football and basketball have the same districts? No, we're talking about that now. Let's try to make sure we capture everything here. So for football, to get on that one, we'll come back and talk about basketball and baseball more specifically here shortly. But on the football district, it's also interesting to see that we're District 6. We've been District 5 for the last couple of years. So that's interesting, too, to see how that kind of played out. District 1, when you go out far west Texas, Clint, Mountain View, El Paso, Bowie, El Paso, Irvin, and Fabens. So some information that I had been given was that all the El Paso schools would opt up to all be in D1. That ended up not happening. So that kind of changed one of those. I think I showed you earlier on my screen one of the playouts that I had looking at different how they were building those districts, and you didn't hear me mention any El Paso schools.
No.
Because we had heard they would opt up. So they did not. So that changed it a little bit from the get-go. And then with District 2, Big Spring, Fort Stockton, Monahans, Pecos, Seminole, and Snyder. Snyder is where Coach Rogers spent a big portion of his career, especially his first head coaching job. District 3, Borger, Levelland, Lubbock, Cooper, Liberty, Lubbock, Estacada, is that what you said? And Perrington. Then District 4, Bridgeport, Brock, Burke Burnett, Graham, Iowa Park, Mineral Wells. That's an interesting dynamic in itself. You have probably the furthest drive might be Burke Burnett down to Brock.
But they were in that same district last year.
Yes. Iowa Park moved into that district. They were formerly 3A.
Yeah, they moved in Iowa Park and lost Eagle Mountain.
And then when you get to Region 2, District 5, Glen Rose, Hillsboro, Kemp, That's interesting. Uplift Hampton Prep. I did not even have that one in my scope when I was looking at redistricting.
I didn't either.
And then Venice. That's only a 5-team district, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 4 of those will go to the playoffs. That's very interesting. 11.
And what's even more interesting about Venus
22.
is their football program has been struggling the last few years. And looking at realignment numbers, their numbers went down by 116 students. So you have Venus playing Uplift, Hampton, Kemp, Hillsborough, and Glen Rose. And Venus, again, like I said, their football team has been struggling the last few years. Numbers went down by 116 students from 713 to 597.
Interesting too, because there's when you add up every school in this, there's 97 and not 102.
No, okay.
So I think that when they announced this particular thing here, right, and they show you the 102 schools, because this is something I could not get an answer to when I was doing all my research, is when they popped this in there, was that how many schools were in the alignment after reclassifications, people opting up or down, like can't opt down, but people opting up or out of certain cutoffs. And so apparently that is just when they did the alignment of football schools, that's how many football schools were in 4A Division II was 102. And then when they get the El Pasos of the world not opting up, and then they get the footwear schools that do opt up, then when they do all the math and the numbers back and forth, it ends up being 97. I think an interesting point to note is there's a lot more schools in Region 3 and Region 4 than there is Region 1 and Region 2. So there's 97 total, but you have 11, you have 22 in Region 1, 23 in Region 2. So you have 45 of your 97 schools in Region 1 and Region 2. Region 3 and 4 have a combined 52 schools, which is just interesting to me to see how that played out. So continuing on again, we go to look at District 5, as we talked about, Glen Rose, Hillsborough, Kemp, Uplift, Hampton, Prep, Venus. District 6 was our district for football. Gainesville, Crum, Lakeworth, Ponder, Sanger, Van Alstyne. District 7, Bonham, Farmersville, Paris, North Lamar, Quinlan, Ford, Sunnyvale, Wills Point. District 8, state champions come out of that district the last couple of years, as well as last several, with it being Carthage. And then they're in there with Center and Gilmer. They did not have Gilmer in their district in the past, so that'll be a tough district match for them. Gilmer's coming back on a little bit strong. But then they have Longview, Spring Hill, Pittsburgh, and then Texarkana, Pleasant Grove. Carthage and Pleasant Grove in the same district. Wow. They were not in the same district this past year. To tell you a little bit about that, that was the two teams ranked number 1 and 2 all season. And then they played each other in the region finals, right, to go to state? Or semifinals, maybe. I don't remember. Might have been region semifinals. I think they were
Correct me
district
if I'm
7 and
wrong.
8.
Pleasant Grove was up on that game, were they not?
They were up at halftime.
Yeah.
And then when you go to District 9 for Region 3, you have Athens, Brownsboro, Canton, Madisonville, Rusk, and Van. Madisonville and Canton are not close. That is interesting. Madisonville's down, just north of Huntsville on 45, and then Canton obviously just out east of Dallas. So that's a drive in itself. And Van's not too far from Canton, right? So that's interesting. And then District 10 is Hampshire, Fannett, Fannett, I don't even know that one. Hardin, Jefferson, Jasper, Shepherd, Silsbee, West Orange, Stark. So now you're getting down in southeast Texas for that district. District 11 is all the Houston schools. So there were some opt-ups there as well for them to get all the Houston schools in one district. Didn't see them going that big to build a district. That's an 8-team district. And then District 12 is Belleville, Freeport, Brazosport, Hitchcock, Katy, Harmony, LaGrange, and Lamar. Lamar is always a pretty big powerhouse in football as well. Then you go to Region 4, District 13, Brownwood, which Brownwood is right there on the cusp geographically of potentially being Region 1 as well. Like in some of the drawings that I did, I have Brownwood in Region 1. But that's probably the furthest north school in Region 4. I'm not looking at a map, but I would bet that that's one of the furthest north out of those schools. And then you have the Gatesville, which is not too far away. I mean, this district geographically put together from this angle does look pretty good geographically. Brownwood, Gatesville, Robinson, Salado, and 2 Waco schools right there makes sense. District 14, you have a couple of the Austin schools, and then Giddings.
Not too far.
Laga Vista, which is around that Austin area. Manor, New Tech, and then Wimberley. Then District 15, a little bit further south, you have Bandera, Cuero. Am I saying that right? Geronimo Navarro, Gonzales, Pearsall, San Antonio Memorial. You been to Pearsall much?
About 5 or 6 times a year for the last 10 years.
District 16, Corpus Christi, London, Ingleside, Kingsville, King, La Fiera, Port Isabel, Rio Grande City, Robstown, and Rockport, Fulton.
Another 8-district team.
Yeah.
Or, excuse me, 8-team district.
So Region 3 and 4 have 2 8-team districts, which is interesting. Again, it's tough when they're going out there and drawing these maps. When I see how many teams are in Region 3 and Region 4 now, it kind of makes sense on why they had to put Carthage and Center and Gilmer up there. But what doesn't make sense is I kind of feel like District 8 and District 9 should be flopped. I think the schools that are in District 9 should really be District 8 when you look at that I-20 line. Maybe not necessarily Madisonville, but that Athens, Brownsboro, Canton, Rusk, or not even necessarily Rusk. Rusk is not that far from Carthage, which is odd. Athens was in the same district as Carthage last year, because Athens was ranked number 10 most of the year in state in football. So that's that piece on football. Now when we go over here and we look a little bit more at basketball, because I know there's some viewers intrigued by what basketball looks like. So for Region 2, District 9, it'll be Aubrey, Gainesville, Crum, Lake Dallas, Ponder, Sanger, Van Alstyne. What I like about that, especially from us doing a broadcast on the road, not very many games going to be very far off.
No, Van Alstyne.
Van Alstyne's the furthest one?
Yeah.
Because we already did broadcast in Lake Dallas. We're broadcasting this Friday in Gainesville. Those drives aren't that bad. And then Ponder and Crum are very close. Aubrey's very close. It's just interesting. And, Pilot Point creeped up there and wasn't hugely drastically far off from being 4A themselves. I think, let me pull up and see what they were at.
They were at 531.
There you go. So they were 19 off.
They added 70 students.
And they're still growing. So if the enrollment numbers don't change drastically in 2 years, we could be talking about a Denton County district almost.
Yeah.
Plus Gainesville.
Pilot Point added, where did I see that? Pilot Point added 70. Sanger added 31. But that's also if we know our locations. When you're coming up 75, from 75 and 380, that growth corridor right there is getting so massive. When people are starting to think that everybody's starting to move north to move into Sanger, it's not necessarily the case. Yes, there are some people, quote, moving north to Sanger, but that 380 and 75 corridor, they're also moving west. So you have Pilot Point was probably numbers are going to grow up faster than what Sanger does. So it will be just a matter of time within the next, maybe not the next redistricting, but the one after that, they may be right there with us as the growth continues to move west and north.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. When we look at some of these other districts near us, so for example, when you go to the playoffs, it becomes by district, and then you start playing depending on the seeding. And so, I guess it's important to say now too, is that even this year, the current classification that we're in, once the four teams, the top four in your district, make playoffs, they do like football used to do, right? They've only done this the last couple of years, but the top two enrollments of the four playoff teams go what they call D1, and then the other two schools go D2. So when you look at District 9, Aubrey's bigger than us, Gainesville's bigger than us, Lake Dallas is bigger than us. Where's Van Alstyne?
Van Alstyne is 804.
So they're smaller. So it kind of depends on who goes to playoffs each time, but we could go Division 1 or Division 2 in those scenarios. Gainesville's barely bigger than us, but we are bigger than Van Alstyne, Ponder, and Crum. So we're right there in the middle when you come to enrollment size. So you could, and the first playoff year, so you're talking about this time next year, right? We could be D1, and then the following year we could be D2.
Yeah.
In the same district.
Same district.
For playoff pairings only, right? It just depends on the teams that go to the playoffs. I know that Sanger took a big hit this year when you look at boys basketball and girls basketball with the numbers they had in graduation, and the particular key players last year. Sanger boys had 8 seniors, and so they're not competing as well as they would like to in this year's district play. Had some tough losses this past Friday and Saturday that pretty much eliminated their playoff chances. I think mathematically, technically, they are still they're still in the hunt. They would need to finish the season sweep with Lake Dallas tomorrow and then beat Gainesville on Friday.
And they would need a little help as well.
Correct. Same with the girls.
Yes.
The girls took they lost on Saturday to Aubrey, which bring that season series to a split, and they really needed to sweep Aubrey to have mathematical chance. They lost to Lake Dallas the first time around, and they would need to win out. They only have 3 district games remaining. They start district play sooner than the boys do, so they would need to obviously win both games this week, which both are winnable. They lost Lake Dallas first time, but it was a close game. And I think we have more district wins than Lake Dallas does on the season, despite us losing to Lake Dallas. And then we beat Gainesville handedly the first time, but then we'd have to come back next week and beat Prosper Richland, which is a tough feat. They're undefeated in district.
Lost yet.
And so, plus get some help.
Right.
So, I mean, ideally, the way they can win out is maybe Prosper Richland has already locked in the 1 seed in the playoffs, and it doesn't matter. Maybe they start resting some key players.
I could see that, but I could see them not resting until halftime.
Right.
And basically, they're gonna get the score up, make sure that they've got everything locked in, and then bring in their underclassmen and their younger players. And I guess we're not affiliated with the Sanger School District, so I can say this. I think that it's crap what's happened with that. The whole situation of all those kids coming over from a 6A school down to a 4A school because they're a new school, but let them basically had open enrollment.
Yeah.
Brought the coach brought the whole 6A team over there, and they're just dominating in 4A, and as they should be dominating in 4A. You know, the reason why, the whole purpose of breaking it down from 1A to 6A is, if people don't understand this, it's not just about numbers. It's about the talent pool that you can pull from. For Sanger, there's not a whole lot of like a perfect example. Let's just say, and I'm not saying that these are the true numbers, but let's just say 40 kids try out for varsity basketball on the boys' side. There's not a coach around that's going to carry a 40-man roster, but all that they have is those 40 kids. Whereas Prosper Richland may have 70 to 80 kids come try out because they have that many more kids out there in that school. So there's just a much bigger talent pool to pull from. And it's just, I mean, I don't understand the concept of why UIL allows it, but it is what it is. You still got to go out and execute. The kids still put their shoes on the same way. We talked about that this morning about, with Carthage, and their football winning programs, but at least they've been 4A and they're staying 4A. They've actually moved up and continued to win. They didn't move down to dominate. It's a big difference. So if they do go on and win the state champions, talk about Prosper, do you put an asterisk by that?
Right. I mean, I would.
Yeah.
It's a different animal when you have the enrollment they have to be able to go out and have tryouts and select their teams. And when you go look at the freshman games versus them, it's similar dominant fashion. Same thing with JV, and then on the girls, it's just a JV team, but still, it's a pretty dominant performance when they play us in all levels, and it's just, I don't know. I wouldn't want it that way if I was them. I would want to win against teams more my size.
Yeah.
But hey, that's the way the cookie crumbled, and
Competition makes you stronger.
Agreed.
I'm looking at the numbers right now. Prosper Richland turned in their 1,796. That was the numbers that they turned in.
Yeah, that's just a drastic difference when you look at what we have to work with in our own backyard. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so as we look over here, I'm going to move this over to the volleyball portion here. Talk a little bit more about the volleyball district. So for volleyball, it's the same as our basketball district. I don't know how many of the other districts within the Region 1 or Region 2 may have changed. I haven't looked at that too closely, but it is kind of convenient for us to be able to look at our volleyball district and our basketball district and see that they are the same. Similar things there when it comes to travel for volleyball. They won't have far to go. A lot of times they're playing on Friday night and they want to get back and support. They want to get back and support their friends on the football team and stuff like that. So when you have closer proximity district games, it will allow them to do so. I mean, last year when I think our volleyball team, one particular example, they played at Aubrey while football was at Bonham. You know what I mean? And that's tough for a team to finish a volleyball, especially parents, right? When they have kids that do both. Pennington's come to mind. They had a daughter that's a freshman that was on the volleyball team.
And did really, really well.
Did really, really well as a freshman. And then her brother Wyatt, who was our reigning player of the game on Saturday for his play against Aubrey, and he was also the impact play of the week on his little highlight video that he had on the block, and then subsequent breakaway dunk at the other end of the court. It was a phenomenal play. Wish I'd have been there to see it in person, but because of the rescheduling, I had youth basketball to attend on Saturday.
We probably would have broke our microphone.
We would have stood up.
Knocked everything over
we would have seen it coming. We might have gone off air.
Probably a good thing. We've been spending a few $1,000 replacing all of our broken crap.
So, anyways, but when you have especially families and stuff like that want to support both kids, I remember talking to the Penningtons that night, and it's tough for them to be in volleyball and football at the same time. And usually during district play, the varsity will play earlier, like they'll play first and then the JV, just for that reason, right? And then, so anyways, if we're playing district football at Aubrey and volleyball is at Crum, it's not that far of a drive to get from Crum to Aubrey once volleyball is completed, if you're a family that's trying to juggle seeing both of your kids play in the same night. So, which will still happen this year with the Penningtons, for example. I mean, Wyatt will be a senior and Blakely will be a sophomore. So, and there's just one example. There's other families that have the same
you've
situation.
Done it as much as I have and everybody else. Sometimes you just got to divide and conquer. And
absolutely.
The world of technology, you can FaceTime or send, quick
watch
videos.
Us.
Yeah, y'all watch us, and there you go.
So, so obviously I know that some of you might be chiming in saying, hey, where is baseball? Where's softball? We don't know those answers yet. So UIL hasn't even given us a date of when they're going to broadcast yet, or not broadcast, when they're going to announce yet.
Like I said, when I looked at it last night right before bed, it still said dates to be determined later.
right, so let's see. I'm trying to think about what else we need to talk about here. We will post later today. We'll put it into a nice little graphic, and so you can see our district. Um, I know that if you're curious about seeing some of the other neighboring districts other than what we showed you on the screen, I know 940 Game Day on their Facebook page, he will have nice graphics put together for each of the districts as well. We still have the current district alignments to finish out for the basketball seasons over the next couple of weeks, and then baseball and softball coming up. One of the things Brett and I are working on right now is our broadcast schedule for baseball and softball. On the horizon this week, we will be broadcasting with Indian Productions tomorrow night for the home game for the Lady Indians and boys basketball. Once we get those links from Mr. Rowe, we will share them. And then on Friday, we'll be at Gainesville to broadcast the road game for both boys and girls on our Sanger Sports Corner networks from either YouTube or Facebook. And
I may be coming in hot Friday.
Okay, no
I'm
problem.
going to Pearsall.
Nice.
I'll leave in Wednesday. I'll be back Friday, but I'm going to leave out Friday morning to make it back in time.
Sure. And so, and then I think next week we have one more home game, I think, that we'll be broadcasting for basketball. Let's see. I have it in my favorites here. So that's this week is 2-3 and 2-6, and then 2-10. We're home to Prosper Richland for both boys and girls. 2-13, where the boys are at Salina High School. We have that one tentatively down that we'll broadcast, but we'll let you know if that changes. And then 2-17, one boys final home game versus Van Alstyne. So I think when we originally set out to try to do Salina and Van Alstyne, well, the Van Alstyne game will be at home. We'll definitely do that. I don't know when senior night is. I know girls' senior night is tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
I don't know if boys is also tomorrow night or not. It could be against Salina. I'm sorry, against Van Alstyne, which is because they have one more home game. I don't know. But we'll make sure that y'all know both of those informations as we confirm that if it is or isn't senior night for the boys. So we want to make sure we go out and support them. They do have a couple of seniors on the boys and girls teams. And what am I missing, Brett?
I think that's it. We got it all.
So again, we'll post the districts for both football and then basketball, volleyball. It's the same for basketball and volleyball, so it'll be easier to build that graphic. But we'll make that here momentarily and get that out, posted on our page for you to see. And if you have any questions, you guys can reach us on our page. We want a big shout out to Drew Hall for allowing us to be here today at Hall Real Estate and Don Hall Construction. So if you're in the market to look to buy some real estate, or you're thinking about selling your home, reach out to Drew Hall and his team of realtors here at Hall Real Estate. If you're considering a remodel or a new build, you want to have a great experience through that process, you can reach out to Drew Hall for Don Hall construction needs. They are right here located at Pecan and I-35 northbound Service Road. We appreciate Drew and his continued sponsorship for us over the years and support of the programs. And then a shout out to Church of Christ. We appreciate their continued support, as well as our Impact Hell Solutions. Some of they're our official hell dent repair for Sanger Sports Corner. If you still, I saw somebody post on the other day on the speaker looking for dent repair, and I saw you comment about Impact's guaranteed 7-day turnaround. That some of the stories I've heard, people were not aware of Impact's 7-day guarantee turnaround prior to giving up their vehicles to other vendors to do their work, and it took several weeks. And I know one case it took 11 to 12 weeks for one person I know to get their vehicle back. So it's not that you don't have a loaner vehicle, which is great, or a rental car that your insurance provides during those situations.
There's nothing like having your own vehicle.
Correct. Like you just have stuff that's put in certain places.
There's a reason
you don't
why
think
I
to get
bought
out.
that truck.
Yeah. And so if you are in need of getting your vehicle back quickly, Impact is the place to go. So they are very good with their service, and we appreciate them being on board with the sponsor for our Player of the Games right now, as well as our Impact Play of the Week. Also, if you're interested in sponsorship opportunities, we have Player of the Game sponsorship opportunities available for district play for both baseball and softball. We have the first part of our non-district Player of the Games that we will be broadcasting for covered. And just to let you know kind of how we do that is during non-district play, we'll do a Player of the Game for every game that we broadcast during non-district. Once we get to district play, whether we're able to broadcast or not, we will still have a player of the game. And so if you are interested in supporting the community and the scholarship programs that we're able to put together with the funds raised from sponsorships, then reach out to myself or Brett, and we will talk to you about the cost information. We have certain costs if it's just doing 1 or 2 or 3 games, and then if you want to do the whole district season, it's a little bit cheaper per game price that we can get you a break on. And we appreciate the support of all of our current sponsors, but love to have some new ones to mix it up and give some support to some of the other local businesses that maybe not, they just don't know about the opportunity. So if you have a friend that owns a local business, or doesn't even have to be in Sanger. I mean, we have some sponsors that are not in Sanger, House of Carts being one of them. So we appreciate
they're everywhere but Sanger.
I know, right? So reach out to me or Brett on Facebook, or if you have our numbers, reach out to us on text or phone, and we can talk to you further about that information. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, Brett, thanks for joining us. We appreciate everybody watching. We'll post this the districts here momentarily, and we'll talk to everybody soon.